Hello guys and welcome back to the Simply Code programming channel. This is Vikesh and let's get started with today's topic, which is about using switch statements in Java. So let us first understand, why do we need switch statements? Generally, whenever you want to check a condition, you can use an if-else block. But what if you have multiple conditions to check? What if you have so many possible execution paths that it becomes too verbose to write it into an if-else kind of block? What if you have to check on constant values of certain expressions? How do you do that? It becomes even more challenging and the code becomes even more verbose. So in such cases, switch statement can be used, in which you can write switch statement to have as many possible execution paths as you want, and it will work with constant values as well. So let's understand this with the help of an example as how and why will we use the switch statements. So for that, I have created this class which is called switch demo, and it also has a public static void main method, which is the entry point. And in this program, what I'm doing is I'm trying to accept a number as the month number in the program. And then with that particular number, I'm trying to print the corresponding month's name. So that's the logic. Pick a month number and you should get the month's actual name. So now in this case, you can imagine there will be at least 12 if else if blocks, which is a long line of if else statements. At the same time, if we try to do this for other conditions where the value is constant, please understand that the value of month is going to be constant. It's going to be the same number. So it's not similar to you evaluating a condition. It's similar to you evaluating a condition to a particular constant value. Imagine if you have to do some sort of a classification of employees in higher salaries and lower salaries, and there are hundreds of salary bands in the company. So are you going to write 100 if else logics? That is going to take a long time. And then what if new bands get introduced? Then it gets even more complex. So we will use switch case statements in cases where there are lots of if else conditions and the expression evaluates to a constant value. Remember, in the if else cases, the expression evaluates to a Boolean value. So here I'm supplying the month value as 6. Then I'm also creating a string month string variable just to print or store the name of the month. And then the way you write the switch statement is to write the switch keyword, and then in the brackets you supply the month integer value, and then you start writing your conditions. So you can see you write the case as keyword, and then you write the number or the possible values this particular variable or this particular expression can hold. So all the possible values this particular expression can hold will be written individually as cases. So case equal to 1. Here 1 means the value of month is 1. In that case, the month string which we created here shall store January. And then we see a statement called break. So break is again a keyword in Java, and this keyword has a special meaning. It has a special usage. You will use the keyword break to abruptly break the control of execution from the current code block, and the code block is identified with curly braces. So here you can see the curly brace starts from here and it ends down to line number 51 at here. So the moment your Java program is going to encounter this particular statement, it is going to jump out of the current code block execution and continue thereafter. That's the basic logic and usage of break statement. So use it whenever you want to skip the rest of the code after the break statement. If you don't want to execute the rest of the code, you will write break, and the moment the Java program sees this particular statement, it will jump out of the current code block specified by the curly braces and will resume execution after the code block. So in this case, it will resume the execution after the line 51. That's the usage and meaning of this expression called break. So in this case, we are saying that if the month value is 1, which we denoted as here, case 1, then store the value of the month string as January and break out of this particular code block, because we don't need to execute any further. We have found a match. Then another case would be if the month value is 2. So you write case, which is a keyword, and then the exact expression value, the constant value, which is 2. And if that's the case, then month string becomes February. And again, you break, because in this particular case, there will only be one condition true at a time. There will never be a case that month with the value 2 will have two meanings, will have two month names. A month with the value 2 will always have a meaning called February. It will never have two meanings or two month names attached to the same integer value. And that's why you do not want to execute any further. And that's why you write this break statement. If you do not write this break statement, it is going to evaluate all of the cases one by one. Even if the cases are not going to be true, but it is going to waste a lot of processing time evaluating all the case conditions which you have written here, which does not make sense, because we know that only one condition at a time can be true here, because we are evaluating and checking for a constant value, which is an integer value. So that's the reason we put a break in each case. If intentionally, if you want to check multiple cases, do not put a break statement, but the program can become really confusing in that case. So take your wise call. So here we put a break in each case. Similarly, case 3, the month string becomes March. Case 4, the month string becomes April. Case 5 becomes May. Case 6 becomes June. Case 7, we have month string as July. Case 8, month string is August. Case 9, we store the month string as September. Case 10 as October. Case 11 as November. And case 12 as December. After that, you will also see an interesting block called default. This is the another capability of switch statement, that what if none of the above conditions hold true? What if we specify a value which is not between 1 and 12 and it will not match any of the cases which we saw just above? And if you want to execute some code in that case, if none of the conditions matches, you may want to execute some default execution. Also, in such cases, you are going to use default. Default is the code block which will be executed if none of the case matches. So here you can see that if none of the cases match, then we are going to store the value of month string variable as invalid month, and then we'll eventually break out. And once we break out of this program, we just want to print the month string. That's all we are doing in this program, that we take an integer value as the month number, and then we print the corresponding month name here by looking at the case blocks. And we also define a default case block if none of the conditions hold true. So let's run this program. We have specified the value as 6, which should result in the month name as June. And yes, we can see we get June. Let's change the value and let's put the value as 10 and see what do we get. So right click, run as Java application, and we got October. Yes, exactly correct. Let's put an invalid value as 13. And let's see what happens now. Now we get invalid month. So our default code block just got executed because we entered a value which is not matching any of the case conditions which we have specified. So this is how you are going to use the switch and case statements while writing your conditions whenever your condition evaluates to multiple constant values. Remember, the key here is to understand if your expression is evaluating to multiple constant values which do not change. And in those cases, using a switch case block is a better idea than writing if-else statements. So that is all what we are going to cover in today's session. And in the next session, we are going to understand something about two-dimensional arrays and multi-dimensional arrays as well. If you like this video, a thumbs up would be massively appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe to Simply Code for more programming related videos. Thank you, and we'll meet again in the next lecture.